Everybody else is talking about also what's in the $825 billion stimulus package. But here's the one thing I want to know. I want to know, how can we possibly let the government get away with calling this a stimulus package? I want to break down the numbers for you and kind of help you with the, well, I mean, we had the numbers from the nonpartisan radical hate mongers. What a bunch of racists over the Congressional Budget Office. They say, according to the CBO, only $26 billion, just over 3%, will be spent in this emergency, quick, get the money to the people stimulus package this year. 3%. Another $110 billion, or 13%, will be spent sometime next year, which means that by the time President Obama's term is halfway through, coincidentally enough, also, oh my gosh, about the time we have the midterm elections. 16% of the money will have been spent. I thought President Obama said this is supposed to be a quick jolt to the economy. The president has also billed the stimulus as an investment in America's infrastructure. And you know what? To be real honest with you, if that were true, I would be all for it. I-95 and the East Coast, if you've ever driven it, help. It's a nightmare. Not exactly the Autobahn. Yet, only 3%, just over $30 billion of this entire package is dedicated to the road and highway spending of the entire country. When you look at it, then you think, okay, well, wait a minute, how about the promise about creating all those great green jobs and all that clean energy? Again, if you want to get serious about wind and solar and nuclear power, and you want to get that off the ground, I am in as an American. We've got to do something, but this isn't serious. 2% of the money is earmarked for clean energy, and only 1/7 of that is going to be spent over the next 2 years. The CBO tells us that billions of dollars are going to go buy brand new computers and replace government cars with new alternative fuel vehicles. Oh, I hope they get that new XM Sirius in it, too. In all, the money is going to 150 different federal programs, from Amtrak, who would have seen that coming with Joe Biden as your VP, to the TSA. And it's not clear that a single new job will ever be created. America, I am so tired of actually caring about stuff every single day, and the people in Washington almost mocking me for it. Can we please call a spade a spade? This package isn't meant to stimulate the economy. It is meant to reshape it. If President Obama, Nancy Pelosi, and the rest of the progressives really believe that socialism is the best way out of this mess, and we should be a socialist country because that's the way to move forward in the world, then please just make the case. Let's have an honest debate about it. Let's actually talk about the truth and allow the American people to decide, not be rushed into socialism and calling it one thing when it's not. You know, what they're doing now, using fear to promote long-term changes to the country, is exactly the kind of thing that led us into the biggest deficit of all, the deficit of trust that we now have in our leaders. A recent Fox News poll finds that half of Americans believe we are drifting towards socialism. Do the other half think we're going in a speedboat? Because that's where I think I'm going. Is this really the best way out? With us from Washington now is a guy who would say, yes, it is. Ohio Democrat Congressman Dennis Kucinich. Hello, Congressman. How are you?
Hello, Glenn Black. How are you today?
I'm very good. Now, you're a guy who says, give me an S, give me a no, all the way to socialism. You like socialism.
Really? Well, I voted against the bailouts. I don't believe in socialism for the rich. And I also think that it is appropriate for us to have a stimulus package. You point out it's not going to be enough. Our economy is going to need more than just a temporary jolt, and I think it's a step along the way. I don't agree with everything in the stimulus, but I'll tell you one thing. We've got to rebuild America's infrastructure. You obviously agree with that. We have to find a way to get America back to work. We have over 10 million people unemployed right now. That's not good for our country. And something I heard you say recently, we've got to look at our monetary policy. You know, the idea of the Fed leading the way on all of these decisions is a dangerous thing. I say they ought to be put under the Treasury. We shouldn't have the Fed have more of a role in the economy. They didn't do proper oversight before. So, we have to look synergistically at the economic stimulus package with the financial stabilization, and unless we do that, we're going to continue to be in a rut. We all want to pull America up and move it forward. That's what a new administration gives us a chance to do.
Congressman, I'm questioning the meaning of life right now. I'm questioning, I don't even know what to do. Good God Almighty, I have found common ground with Dennis Kucinich today. You're against the...
Well, you know, I think it...
Go ahead.
Yes.
I mean,
I agree with you. I agree with you about the Fed.
I swear to God, a wormhole is opened up, and I've slipped through it. If you and I... Yes?
Glenn Beck, the Federal Reserve is no more federal than Federal Express. It is a private organization. And we need to have public control over this if we're going to have public policies in the public interest.
Yes, yes, Dennis. Words I never thought I'd say. Yes, Dennis Kucinich, you're right.
But we can also stimulate the economy. Look, we need something on the order of a New Deal to get millions of Americans back to work, rebuilding our infrastructure.
Okay. Oh, I'm back to my reality planet again. Thank you. Okay. No, Dennis, we don't need... Look, if you want to do a stimulus package, then you can do a stimulus package. And the fastest way to get to a stimulus is to give people their own money, allow them to keep their own money, and cut taxes. What we've got here is something... Why are we in such a hurry for this stimulus package when only, what is it, 3% actually gets into the blood system in the next 12 months? That's craziness.
Well, we have to make a start, and we better start now. We have a new administration. It's time to start. And keep in mind, tax cuts don't do anyone who doesn't have a job any good. So we have to get people back to work. This stimulus package over a period of 2 years will either save or create 2 to 4 million jobs.
Let me just say, let me ask you a question. Have you ever worked for a poor person?
Oh, that's who I work for. That's when I'm in Congress. I'm in Congress to serve the poor and the rich alike.
If I may just point out,
the poor's needs more help.
I believe those people are only poor because you bankrupt the city when you ran it. I'm just...
Listen, let me tell you about myself. Glenn Beck, you don't know me. I grew up the oldest of 7. My parents never owned a home. We were renters. I lived in 21 different places by the time I was 17, including a couple cars. I know what life is like for a lot of people. I'm in Congress to make sure that the poor, middle Americans, working class people have a representative.
Dennis.
I'm also in there to challenge the way the system is. It's not working. These bailouts for the banks are not taking care of the American people.
As an American, sir, I respect you for the job that you do. I disagree with you, but you are absolutely in there fighting for what you believe. I wish there were more people in Congress that actually believed in something. I don't think they do. I think they're just in there for their own power, etc., etc. What I meant by the question...
There's a lot of good people in Congress.
What I meant by the question, sir, was I've never been employed by somebody who is poor. If you want to create jobs, you don't do it by giving the money to the poor. You give incentives to businesses or small businesses to create more jobs. You give them more money. Have you ever run a business?
Oh, yes. I had my own.